If you're like some of the students that I've worked with, they often wonder, now that the early application and early decision deadlines have passed, am I too late? Am I going to be able to apply to my colleges that I'm interested in? Am I going to even get accepted because I haven't applied yet? Today, I really want us to take some time and help to eliminate some of the myths that if you haven't applied early action or early decision, that students are never, that they're not going to get accepted to the schools that they are interested in, or that just significant amount of stress. So whether you might be waiting for your first semester grades to be finalized so that you can show that you have a strength of schedule with rigorous courses and that your grades have improved even from prior years. Or if you have applied to some colleges already and you want to add some other colleges to your list, we're going to cover some different tips and tricks to help give you confidence with this round of applications. Hey there, I'm Courtney. I am the founder of Confused to Ready College consultation, and I am super excited to be able to spend time with you all and to make sure that you are confident in the next steps that you are taking or that your student is taking, for those of you that are parents. And there are a lot of stressors that we deal with, and I want to make sure that you know that you are in a place where we have resources to help. You're going to have expert guidance. We are going to make sure that you are calm and that you know exactly what to do moving forward. So when we talk about applications, a lot of students have gone ahead and they have completed their early action or early decision, but that doesn't mean that everyone has done that. So like I said in the intro, it might be that you're waiting for some first semester grades to be finalized so that you can show, or that your student can show, how much progress they've made. Or maybe you want to add some schools to your list. Let's talk through some different pieces of your application to make sure that you are in a good place with it. So the first thing that I will say is making sure just that students are reviewing the common application portion of the demographics. So all of your basic information, so where you live, making sure that you have names spelled correctly, making sure that you're entering your courses correctly. The next thing that I want to talk about is your personal statement. So there are several pieces that go along with the college essay and your personal statement. With the Common App, they have prompts that students can answer. And one of the things that students should make sure of is that within their personal statement, within answering their Common App prompt, they want to be able to share who they are, what are your values, and what is it that you are going to bring to that college campus so that the college knows how you're going to be able to continue to make an impact when you are on that campus and what you're going to bring to them. So that's one of the things to focus on with the just general personal statement or answering the Common App prompts. The next piece with your essays that you're writing is that some of the schools will have supplemental essays, or they might have school-specific essays for students to write. And one of the major ones is going to be the why us. This is something that students really need to make sure that they get specific on. It should not read back to the admissions representative that they think, oh yeah, that was pulled from our website, or because you're one of the top 5 schools or the top 20 schools, or because I know, that someone famous graduated from there. You want to really dive into what the major is that a student is interested in enrolling, what major do they want to enroll in, and then be able to talk about why that school is going to be the best fit for that individual student. Now, if you are applying to multiple schools, sometimes you can take the personal statement and that's something that can be reused and you can tweak it for the needs of the different schools. When you are looking at a why us statement, it should not read the same because each of those schools and universities are so different and very specific with their own benefits, their own just pieces to acknowledge about why you are interested in that school. So being very specific about the individual school and also making sure to use the correct name of that specific college. So, and then a why the major that your student is applying to, or that you as the student are applying to. So being able to talk about, okay, so I'm interested in an engineering major, and why is it that you're interested in that? Are there things that happened as you grew up that made a difference in why a student was interested in something? Or if it's healthcare, was there an experience where someone who was a medical provider really made an impact on the student to be able to say, okay, this is why, you know, I want to be able to help make a difference in someone's life in the future as well. So being able to talk about why students are interested in a specific major, why are they interested in a specific college, and being able to be very, very specific. The more detail that you can give, the better about your reasoning, so that the college will understand that yes, you do in fact have a solid understanding of what the college can provide and what for you as the student, but also what you can provide back to that school. So personal statements are definitely going to be a big part of it. Your extracurricular activity list is the next part. So with this list, what we're doing is you want to really make sure that at the very top of that list, that you are including the activities that had the biggest impact first. So it doesn't just have to be, you know, a random order or just going ahead and listing everything, but as the admissions officers are reviewing your personal statement, as they are reviewing your extracurricular activities, they're going to be making notes about what are the things for you to really, so that they know what you can bring to the school. Again, going back to that, what are you going to bring to the college? What are your values? And so you want to be able to talk about where you had the most impact. So before you start filling anything out, what I would suggest, and what I have done with students, and one of the students that I worked with this year, in fact, we actually made a list of all of the activities, and we knew we did it in a Google document. And so we knew that we could move things around depending on what seemed like it had the biggest impact. And then knowing that the Common App only has 150 characters, we knew that we needed to be really strategic with how we were listing those activities. So on the Common App, when you are listing your information, one of the things that you're going to do is make sure, you know, the school or the location and the title of what it is that you did, those are going to be listed already in the Common App. So you don't have to list that you were part of student council and that you were the vice president in both the title of the activity as well as within that 150 characters. If you were vice president of student council and you have that already listed, then within that 150 characters, you can talk about what is it that you did as vice president of the student council. And so using action verbs, action words to describe what you did. But if you have a question about something and you're not 100% sure if it means what you think it did, look it up, do a Google search of whatever that word is to make sure that you're using it in the right context as you are applying to these schools. And so really being strategic. If you were involved in something for 5 years, 6 years, and you had a strong, you know, strength, that your strength of the length of the activity and the involvement and that commitment was really strong, but you had something where you had done it for 2 or 3 years, but you also held a leadership position, that should go in front of or above the activity that you did for the 4 years, because you were holding that leadership position. And so you were able to do more with that as far as having an impact on the greater community. So where did you have an impact? All right, so we talked about personal statement, we talked about extracurricular activities. The next thing is going to be really making sure that you have strong letters of recommendation. So the first thing I will say with this is make sure that you are aware of what the university requires. Are they going to require that a student has that the student submits or requests a letter from a core content teacher and an elective teacher and a school counselor? Or are they going to request that information be from, two content area teachers? Or are they going to say that they're not going to look at letters at all? So being aware of what the university requirements are super important. The other thing I would say is making sure that you have some conversations with people, the recommenders, to make sure that one, they're going to give you a positive recommendation, and that two, they really are going to make sure that you are giving them everything that they need to write that best possible letter, because we don't want it to end up being that the recommender thinks, well, I don't know what I had them 2 years ago. I have no idea what I should be writing, or I don't even remember who this student is. So making sure that you are requesting a positive letter, that you are providing information to the recommender about, hey, can you please make sure that you talk about this? Or what I will suggest that students do is even write a letter to their recommender, just saying, thank you so much for being willing to write me a letter of recommendation. I loved when, and then talk about a memorable activity that a student completed in that class or something that was positive. And then being able to go from there as far as making sure that you're not submitting letters too many, or if you have one school that will accept 2 and one school that will accept 3, letting the teacher know, hey, I would love if you would submit letters to this school and this school, but I don't need one for school C. So letting the recommenders know what you need and your deadlines, and making sure that you ask far enough in advance. And then the final thing I will say, so we've talked about, really making sure with your personal statement that you're in a good place, also making sure that you are aware of your extracurricular activities, your letters of recommendation, and then just going back and double or even triple checking that application. So looking to make sure that you have the correct name of the institution, making sure that there aren't spelling errors, making sure, you want it to be, and can errors happen? Yes, we are human, we make errors, but as much as possible, having 1 or 2 people review it so that the reviewer is not focusing on some of those smaller errors, and instead they're focusing on what your application is telling about your story or your student story as an individual. So looking at with that application as well, are you going to submit test scores? Do you have your essay ready to go? And before you hit that submit button, just combing back through and making sure that you have done everything possible to have a standout application. So for those of you with seniors, I have a couple of limited spots left for some application review and even discussing your essays. So if that is something that you are interested in, I have a couple of spots left. I saved these for some of the seniors that that might be needing some additional support around this time of the school year. And so I do have a couple spots left for seniors that I would love to chat with you a little bit more. Maybe just to see what your specific questions are and what help you need. The other thing is, if you are a junior and you really want to get ahead and make sure that you have a solid college list and that you are on top of everything that you need to do for the remainder of your junior year into senior year, I also am going to be starting to do some more intensive work with our juniors. So feel free to send me an email, admin@confusedtoready.com, and I look forward to hearing from you next time. Take care. Bye.